Have you ever tried practicing your putting only to find you end up taking more putts on the golf course, not less? Well, you're not alone. Despite there being only 3 key skills to being a good putter, there's a strange loophole that exists within the putting world, which means that before you get better, you might actually need to get worse. Let me explain. So the 3 key putting skills you need in order to be a good putter is: number 1, have a good start line. Be able to start your golf ball on your intended line. Number 2, control the speed or the distance that you hit the ball. And number 3, make a good prediction about what this ball's going to do as it rolls across the green towards the hole. Be a good green reader, effectively. And if you're good at all 3 of those skills, you will be a very good putter. However, you could do 2 of those skills, pick any 2 perfectly, and get just 1 of them wrong, and you would essentially never make a single putt. Let me explain. I've got this putt set up on the ground here. It's a little bit left to right, so I'm going to aim about 6 inches to the left of the hole, and I'm going to intentionally hit this putt too hard. So I've got a good read. I'm going to try and start the ball as best I can on line here, but I'm going to hit the ball too hard on purpose to demonstrate the fact that even with a good read, I know this is a little bit left to right, and a good start line, I'm going to hit the putt on my intended start line. If I hit the ball too hard, that ball broke. You can see how it broke as it went past the hole, but I hit it too hard. I hit it with too much speed. So despite getting 2 out of the 3 skills perfectly well done, by messing up just 1 of those skills, I can't make a single putt. Now, the irony of that is I could get 2 of those skills wrong and just 1 of them right, and I'd have a better chance of making the putt. That sounds crazy. Let me explain. If I take this same putt, we already know that it's a left to right putt. So let me make the mistake of pretending this is going to be a right to left putt. We know it isn't, but that's the first error. So I've got a bad read, and if my intended start line here was to the right of the hole, I'm going to make a second error by actually starting the ball to the left by making a compensation in my stroke. One that I typically wouldn't want to make, but because I'm aimed to the right of the hole, the only chance I have of ever making this putt would be to change the face angle during my stroke and start the ball to the left. So I've got a bad read and I'm going to have a bad start line. But if I do bad read, bad start line and match it with good speed, I've got more chance of making this putt than I would do if I got 2 out of the 3 skills correct. Sounds crazy, but it's true. Let me aim this to the right, hit the putt with bad start line. I'm going to start this to the left. And whilst it didn't go in, I had good speed, and the ball actually finished closer to the hole than the first putt, where I got 2 out of the 3 skills correct. So you can start to see how there can be some confusion about how to practice your putting and how to do so in a way that actually makes you a better putter. And the way that you do that is you ensure that you practice all 3 of the key skills at the same time. Today, with the help of the Putting Thing from YGolf, this training aid is going to help you practice in a way that trains all 3 of those core skills: start line, speed, and read at the same time. So for any putting aid to pass the recommendation test, it needs to be able to train all 3 skills simultaneously. This one does just that. So there's 3 key features here that you need to know about. Number 1, there is a ball start line gate here at the front. And using these dials, you can turn them to create a narrower or wider gate at the front of the training aid here for the ball to go through. The tighter the gate, the more refined your start line skill needs to be. But the great thing about this is that it starts out with quite a wide amount of space here that you can train if you're not particularly good at this skill, and then as you improve, the training aid grows with you. You can go from position 0 through position 1, 2, 3, and ultimately all the way up to 4 to train a more predictable, repeatable start line. So that's the start line skill that's so important to being a good putter. Number 2, we have a gate for the putter head. So this has 6 settings, and of course the width of this gate is going to depend very much on the width of your putter head. But you're looking to set this up so that the gate's just a little bit wider than your putter. Now, you could have done this in the past with T-pegs, but I don't know about you, I've tried to set up T-pegs and ball gates, and it all gets a bit clumsy on the ground. This takes care of everything in one go. So training better strike out of the center of the putter, which is essentially what the putter gate drill does, is it ensures that you're hitting the sweet spot of the putter more often, which helps you to transfer a more predictable, repeatable amount of energy from your stroke into the ball. So that helps you with the skill of better speed control. You can become much better at judging distance if you hit the center of the putter more often. And then Part number 3, as you already know, the key skill number 3 is green reading. Now, what this device has, which I think is genius, is it has this little attachment here. They call this the alignment rod, and it fits onto the device when you're setting it up so that you can help yourself to set this thing in just the right place so that you're taking care of the read portion of those 3 key skills. So with the rail on here, the alignment rail, I can know for sure that when I just hit this putt, and I'm just going to hit a couple of putts here just to see how I'd set this thing up, I know that this ball is rolling perfectly straight in terms of how I've set this up. So if I was to set it up incorrectly, I would know very quickly that I'd hit the ball on the wrong line, I've played too much break, and I need to make an adjustment. That will save you so much time on the putting green. I can't tell you the amount of times I've set up drills and practice stations on a green for myself and for players, and then realized that I've set it up a little bit too far to the left or a little bit too far to the right of my intended target. So I have to pick up all my tees and start again. This alignment rail is genius. It helps you to set this thing at the target or at your intended target, which will of course help your skill of green reading. It helps you to do that very, very quickly, and if you make an error, you can adjust it very quickly, so we can actually get into the practice part of this very, very quickly. Now let me show you exactly how I would recommend you use this device out on the putting green, the way I would use it when I'm doing my own putting practice, or how I recommend students use it. So the first thing you're going to do is read your putt. You're going to pick your putt. I've got my putt here. I'm going to make my prediction for the read here. I can see this is a left to right putt, and I'm trying to aim somewhere to the left of the hole here, and in doing so I can aim my putting device to the left, and I can just use the alignment rail as I already did here, just to hit a couple of putts and just make sure that that's pointing where I want it to, and I can see there very quickly that it is. Now, this has a few little sharp teeth on the base of this that will help it to stay on the ground, but when you're outside, I also like to maybe grab a couple of T-pegs. There's some holes here around the edge here, and I can just secure this to the ground. You don't have to do this, but you can just make sure this thing's not going to move around. And now that I know this station is set for the read portion of my skill training, I can unclick or unclip the alignment rail. It just comes off very easily, and I can leave that to the side. So now I haven't got the alignment rail helping me to control my start line. I can use the dials on the front here to set the constraint for the ball. We've got 0 to 4, as I've mentioned, 0 being the widest, 4 being the tightest. I'm going to start out just on a number 1 to see how we do, and then similarly for the putter gate, the putter head gate, I need to check based on the width of my putter. So because my putter head's quite wide, I'm probably going to start out here with the guide at number 2. And I would probably say for my putter, the maximum I would ever get to practice out here would be number 3, because anything more than that would actually make the gate narrower than my putter head, which we never want to do. So we want to allow you to have a little margin of error here, but as your skill gets better, I want you to increase the level of difficulty here by turning the dials, whether that be for the putter head gate at the back here, or whether that's for the ball gate at the front. A couple of other things here that I'll show you from an over top view, which are really nice for you to see, would be number 1, there's a little rubber strip at the back here which allows you to just rest your putter on the mat and not have it slide around. So you don't have to hover the putter in the air, you can rest it on the ground and not worry about the putter head sliding back and forth. There's also a really nice alignment line here on the top, which helps me to get the putter face squared off really nicely, which I like. And then finally, there's 2 small lines just to either side of the golf ball here, and that helps me to get my eyes and my head aligned in a more consistent fashion. Now, I'm not saying you must get your eyes directly over the ball to be a good putter, that's certainly not true, but having the ability to see these lines and have a sense that I'm setting up in the same way every time will help me to develop a more consistent, repeatable stroke. If I was standing too far away from the ball, I wouldn't be able to see the line on the far side of the ball here, and if I got myself too close and my eyes went past the ball, I'm not going to be able to see the line closest to me. So it's a nice way for just checking that I've got my setup in a more consistent fashion. Once I've done that, I'm now going to go ahead and hit some putts. I've got the putter head gate set, I've got the ball gate set, and I know that the device is aiming at my intended target. So there's the feedback of striking the gate at the front. I hit the right side and the ball was shot off to the left. So immediately great feedback on my ability to control my start line. And the great thing about this device is you get instant feedback. You can make an adjustment on the very next putt. That ball started really well. You can see that it came up a little bit short, and as a consequence of that, it just died before it reached the hole and looks like I didn't play enough break. But actually on that example, it was a speed error, not a read error. That would be an example of the get 2 out of the 3 things correct. I got the read right, I got the start line right, but on that occasion I had the speed wrong, and so the putt didn't go in the hole. We'll do another one. So I've got this set, as I said, at gates 2, number 2 for the putter head, number 1 for the ball, and I struck the right side again there. That's showing that I've got a little bit of a propensity to open the putter face during my stroke and push the ball to the right, which I know to be true. It's one of the things I battle in my stroke. So knowing that's great, but having a device that helps me to train that whilst also conforming to the other skills is critical. So much of your putting practice will be isolating 1 or maybe 2 of the 3 key skills. But as I've already shared with you, now you know that if you get 2 out of the 3 right, but you get the other 1 wrong, you're not going to be a very good putter. So it's critical that you're working on all 3 skills at the same time. You're working on your green reading skill and your start line, as well as your speed. All 3 of those things matter if you want to be a better putter. That one came off really nicely, yeah. And it went straight in the center of the hole. So there's a great example of getting all 3 things right. I got the instant feedback that I knew that was a good putt. I've hit enough putts in my life to know what a good putt feels like. And I also got the feedback that I'd matched everything up correctly and the ball went in the hole. A couple of other ways that you could use the gate drill here. One thing I like for this putter head gate especially, if you have a tendency to strike the ball excessively out the toe of the putter or even excessively out the heel of the putter, setting up not necessarily these dials in an even fashion, which would be the most logical way to do it, but having a slight bias towards one side or the other, so creating more space on the heel side here for my putter to go through and less space on the toe side, would just start to change or train your feeling and your look about how that putter head should set up behind the ball. I've made videos on this before, how golfers really struggle to set up to the golf ball in the center of the putter. It's crazy to think that, but it's very, very true. I've made a video, I'll link it at the end, you can check that out. So this has a lot of different ways that you could use this. I would really encourage you to check it out if you're interested in training your stroke and improving your skills as a putter. Then there's really no better way to work on all 3 of the key skills at the same time. A couple of other nice features about this product before I finish would be the teeth at the base of the product that help it to stay on the ground much better than it would be if it was simply a flat surface. And also this thing is super light and durable, fits in your golf bag really easily. You can keep it with you and use it every time you're at the course when you're working on your putting. If you're interested in learning more about the putting thing from YGolf, I'm going to put a link in the description of this video. You can click that and learn more about the product. There's no specific discount code, but the website and the company run regular promotions and you'll be able to save yourself a few dollars if you click on this link. If you found this video useful and you'd like to learn more about how to develop the 3 key putting skills, I've got one right here I would tell you to check out, which talks about how golfers struggle to put the ball in the center of the putter face. I know it sounds strange, but I see it more than any other error. Or the other one you can go and watch right here is this one on the wrists and how you should use your wrists for putting if you want to develop those 3 key skills.